All right, so from this point, you're going to want to make sure that the tip is really pretty thin. So I'm going to do some additional scraping. Even though I didn't remeasure it, I'm being very attentive to where 66 and 67 are. And I'm going to thin the tip quite a bit more. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a cutting block and I'm going to take a razor blade and I'm going to clip off just a little bit of the tip, the least amount possible. And when I press down, I'm going to press really firmly and I'm going to rock left to right, and then it's going to clip off. And now there's a hole in the tip of the reed, right? Mm-hmm. Then you have in your set of equipment, you have a little thing that's called a plaque, which looks like this. And you're going to very carefully put the plaque in between the blades, and you just put it in until it essentially grips it. One thing you want to make sure you don't do is shove it all the way down here because it will break the seal on the reed. So you're just putting it in just a little bit. Then you're going to take your ruler and remeasure from the bottom of the tube to the top of the heart. You're going to remeasure that 67 line, put a little mark, and then you're going to focus on getting the tip thinner. And while you're doing that, you're still going to make sure you're keeping that angle so you're back at 66 millimeters in the corner. And you're going to thin and thin and thin. Make sure you keep your knife clean so you can see where you're working. When you're working on the left side of the reed, make sure you take an angle as to stay out of the center of the tip. And you're going to keep thinning and thinning and thinning, keeping the knife clean. You want to flip over the other side, do the other side. Now you can see there's a little bit of a chip here, but that's not really a big deal because that's going to be gone once we reclip it to the playing length. So I'm going to still keep working here, thinning the edges and the corners of the tip. I'm going to remeasure on both sides, remeasure 67. I can actually see that scrape, though you may not be able to with the camera. And I am just being really careful to put the right amount of pressure on the reed. If this starts sliding out, try re-dipping the reed with the water because it could be that the cane is getting dry. If the cane gets dry, it'll shrink up and so the plaque will more readily fall out. If you ever decide that you want to work on the tip, the very tip at this point with the razor blade, you got to be really careful and take the least amount possible because it's very delicate. And if you're thinning it enough, the reason why the plaques are a dark color is so you can actually see the plaque through the cane. So you can kind of see how thick. See over here, it's thinner because you can see how dark it is. Yeah. You can see the darkness